Today on the Topping Show, a Minnesota elementary school wants to host a pride dance for the kiddos. Michelle Obama complains that her husband is more famous than herself. Democrats choose a pro-gay, pro-choice, pro-BLM representative to try to win back the male voters. General Motors renews their trademark for Pontiac, but only for useless things like hubcaps and swag. E.L.F acquires Hailey Biebers Cosmetics for over $1 billion, and Nissan recalls about 80,000 other Frontiers and Kicks. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Guys, he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase with Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15, like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the flamethrower button to learn more and see me shooting a flamethrower. And lastly, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have General Motors renewing their trademarks for Pontiac, but the cars are not coming back. They are simply doing it for license plate, frames, swags, hubcaps, and knickknacks, but it is fun to keep the memory of Pontiac alive. So there are some people who speculate, oh yeah, maybe GM was going to bring back Pontiac, which unfortunately GM killed when they went bankrupt. I should clarify, when they went bankrupt for the multiple time, back in this time 2009 being the most recent bankruptcy. They have a long history of, failing. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Rhode and Glone at thedrive.com. He says, quote, tell your uncle Pontiac is not coming back just because GM is renewing the trademark. The trademark filings can mean something to everyday gearheads, but sometimes it's just not one of those times. And again, the Pontiac brand has been dead for, again, over a decade, which sucks because to me it's one of the coolest brands. I mean, shoot, one of the top brands of the 60s, I'd say nearly bar none in terms of American muscle. I mean, who doesn't like the original Pontiac GTO? But even the most modern Pontiac production vehicles that they're showing in this article, they're all just Australian Holden vehicles that they rebadged, which, again, in terms of, economics, in terms of saving money, makes sense. It's a good business idea. They had some sales, not enough. But I mean, even the brands you see pictured aren't really engineered by like Pontiac. They were not made in Pontiac, Michigan. Now, the one picture is actually the Pontiac G8, which was a cool V8 sedan with a stick shift. It was a great vehicle, but again, just imported from Australians. And I don't even think they included a kangaroo in the trunk, which a little disappointing, be a cool little pet, but nevertheless. They say, quote, General Motors just applied to renew its Pontiac trademarks. And the service is tempting for us, all of our car getters and gearheads, to think it might be coming back. But don't get your hopes up. Pontiac isn't likely to come back in the near future or even in the distant future. The trademark filing simply doesn't mean much. The application was filed actually a couple months ago, April 21st, 2025. It applies to, quote, hubcaps for vehicles, horns for vehicles, license plate frames, and novelty license plate frames. There's another way of saying the name and sum up various parts. The application hasn't been approved yet, but still waiting examination. But GM has owned the license since 2005, so it's most likely to be approved. And again, here's some cool pictures of the G8, though it is boringly disappointing that they have the automatic transmission shown in this picture. Which again, it did come with the option of stick shift, like all awesome cars should have by default, of course. And they say that, quote, car companies routinely file trademarks to ensure the brand name, model name, or even logo doesn't end up in the competitor's hands. Just ask Nissan, by renewing the Pontiac trademark, GM is essentially making sure that, say, Dodge doesn't end up with a name on a trim level. Would that happen? Probably not, but it's better to play safe than sorry. And owning the trademark, General Motors is making sure it can continue to sell sweet Pontiac branded memorabilia despite shuttering in 2010. Which, yeah, I'll show you the Pontiac GTO. Not the good one from the 60s. This is the 2005? But yeah, you can see again, this is just imported Holden from, again, Australia. I can't even say that country's name right. Just such a bizarre, crazy place. Australia. They're known for Foster's beer, criminals, and Holden cars. What else are they known for? Didgeridoos. This concludes the lesson and everything you need to know about Australia. Also, evil totalitarian government that's, disarmed their populace, but another topic for another time, perhaps. Again, at least that cool car did have a fun little V8. It was a great, a lot of people love to make them into racing machines and tune the engines and do all the upgrades. it was a underappreciated, but hindsight, pretty cool car. But again, to me, it didn't look distinct enough to have the newer GTO. If only people who really knew about it were the aficionados, kind of like the Chevy SS, also imported from, yep, you guessed it, Australia, and also a Holden manufacturer, which again, GM owned that company way back in the day. Now they say that, quote, imagine if General Motors had let the trademark expire. Pontiac is dead after all, and it's not coming back. Why waste the legal team time and trademark application? I mean, yeah, a bunch of salaried employees. This is their job. And again, they probably make, who knows, a couple $100,000 or a couple million on merchandise alone and knickknacks. Doesn't cost too much to have the person file this trademark application extension. And again, in the United States, if you don't defend it, again, you lose it and the competitors could easily swoop in and take it. They say, why waste legal team's time with a new trademark application? Granted, assuming that Dodge would launch a Charger Pontiac is a little far-fetched, but what if I spotted an expiration trademark and claimed it? If my application were approved, I could sue GM if they ever sold anything Pontiac branded. And then here's some people in the comments saying, or the article goes on to say, well, what about the Hummer EV? That brand was dead. They killed that company, and later they brought it back, but is now part of the GMC lineup of vehicles. But yeah, it's just, that was for one specific, I mean, Hummer, it was technically a car company, but at the end of the day, it was really one type of vehicle, one model of vehicle. Sure, they had like the hilariously useless, I think it was the H2 that had the option for convertible. But yeah, I mean, a lot of there's someone, Ron Gossick in the comments says that, I'm not sure where the writer lives, but here in Metro Detroit, there are allegedly people working on the Pontiac program at GM Tech Center in Warren, Michigan. There are 2 vehicles being developed, which there's been no substantial no one's authenticated that information. It's a rumor going online. You can hear the rumor every couple of years. I understand. I mean, I wish Pontiac would come back as a pure performance brand. But again, I mean, GM, I just don't see them doing that. We got Chevy for the budget cars. You got Buick for, I don't know why they sell Buick, but you got GMC for the contractors who like that. You got Cadillac for the older folks, as well as people who love, I'd say pretty good performance. They got the stick shifts and the V8s with the Cadillac brand. It'd be cool, especially because they killed the Camaro, so GM, that Chevy product is gone. But again, I don't think Pontiac is ever coming back. I wish it would. I definitely miss it, but let me in the comments. Do you think GM will ever bring it back? Or do you think it would ever be financially viable? And growing up, did you ever have experience with Pontiac? I mean, even though it was an entry-level vehicle, I still love the Pontiac G6. I think it was a GXP edition. But they had a fun little coupe with the stick shift when I was a kid that thought it'd be a cool first car. Unfortunately, I didn't get that privilege. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have E.L.F. acquiring Hailey Biebers Rhode Beauty for $1 billion, which is an insane amount of money for trash. But again, women spend billions of dollars every year on makeup, which again, I think is mostly just a waste of money. But again, smart businesses is highly profitable. It's one of the most profitable legal substances on the planet is cosmetics, which granted, I would argue just going to the gym a couple of days a week would be infinitely more effective at increasing your, appeal. But nevertheless, it's brought to us thanks to the Associated Press. They say, quote, Cosmetics Beauty E.L.F. acquires Hailey Biebers Rhode Beauty brand for $1 billion. Who's that? That Justin Bieber's wife, Hailey Bieber? I'm only partially kidding. There's a picture of someone there. Now they say, quote, Biebers Rhode had $212 million in net sales in 12 months that ended March 31st. The company's products were only available online, but by the end of the year, it plans to begin in-store partnerships with Sephora in North America and the UK. Bieber, age 28, is a model. Well, I was only kidding. I thought it was actually Justin Bieber transitioning, but no, it actually looks like it's the wife of Justin Bieber. That's, yeah, interesting. And they will be Rhode's chief creative officer and head of innovation, also strategic advisor of the combined companies. She launched Rhode, which is her middle name, which, bless me, apologies. I was going to say, who chooses their middle name for a brand is kind of weird. Almost as weird as like a last name or like a, name like Topping. Who the hell would actually have that kind of name and build businesses based off that name? Oh, wait, I'm only partially kidding and I digress. Now, she launched Rhode, which is her middle name, as a skincare company in 2022, and it's since expanded to include blushes, colored lip balm, and lip liners, which, whatever the hell those things are. The brand is popular among young consumers and fans of Bieber's fresh-faced, casual, athletic, it's a long description, which has emerged as an alternative to the ultra-glam, heavily made-up looks popularized by the Kardashians years ago. Under the terms of the agreement, E.L.F. will acquire Rhode for $600 million in cash and $200 million in newly issued shares of E.L.F. common stock. The deal also includes a potential payment of $200 million based on future growth of the brand over the next 3 years, which is insanely lucrative. I'm in the wrong business. Why am I selling tech and doing media when you can just get goop, put in a jar, and sell it for billions? Probably helps that she's, moderately attractive. I don't think my brand would be as successful. Topping face cream, I don't think it would sell I don't think it would sell too well on store shelves, but I partially digress. They say that E.L.F. stands for Eyes, Lips, and Face. Started in 2004 as an affordable makeup brand whose products were initially sold online. It later expanded into retail stores like Target and grew further in step with social media trends, highlighting less expensive versions of high-end products. The company, based in Oakland, California, reported net global sales of, this is mind-boggling. They increased 28% to $1.3 billion for goop you spatter on your face. Billions of dollars. It blows my mind. Now they say that, quote, due to the wide range of potential outcomes related to tariffs, it said it would not provide fiscal guidance for the current year, unquote. They say that E.L.F. sourcing policy says that most of the products were made by suppliers in China, whose goods were subjected to the 145% tariff placed in place over a month ago by Donald J. Trump, and then lowered to 30%. The brand also advised followers on X that it plans a $1 increase starting August 1st, but, quote, keeping an eye on the tariff situation as it evolves. Which, yeah, dear God. Imagine their profit margins if they sell goop in a can, or maybe, rarely a nice, glass container, and it's made in China, where the cost of goods is so cheap. There's the reason these companies will fight to the death to get shelf space, and why makeup companies are so comically profitable. Say that, quote, like Biebers Rhode, E.L.F. says the products are all vegan and not tested on animals before reaching to consumers. That's a little, I don't want to say hateful, animalistic, or not animalistic, animalism. They're saying animals aren't allowed to wear makeup and look pretty. I'm sure what's the opposite of PETA? Someone might do a protest about this company. But they say that both brands are styled their names, and the first letter not capitalized. E.L.F. Beauty found a, quote, like-minded distributor in Rhode. Chairman and CEO Tariq Amin said it in a meeting. We are excited to buy Rhode's ability. Rhode's ability to break barriers, fully aligning with E.L.F. Beauty's vision to create a different company. They also know that E.L.F. also owns the brand We People skincare brand Natrium and Keys Soul Care. I guess they don't manufacture keys for your house, although I guess for some folks that's not a thing either. Nevertheless, it was by a singer, Alyssa Keys. All these people with cool, normal names, well, moderately normal compared to mine. Kind of wonder if my name is something that boosts the company value or just gets it blacklisted and not so much. But yeah, again, over $1 billion. Again, great success to this company. I wish them, they killed it. I mean, that's unparalleled success. That's amazing to have that much. And again, those companies love to prey on insecurities. They like to make people think, oh yeah, you need these this goops crap on your face so you look a little bit more pretty. When no, I mean, diet, exercising, go to the gym. That's what really makes you look pretty. But maybe that's just me. I always think makeup is the biggest waste of money women spend money on. Granted, men spend money on stupid stuff too. But let me know in the comments. Do you really think? I mean, obviously, it's a $1 billion company doing great, but in our lifetime, do you think we'll see a trend of makeup companies decreasing their revenue and actually becoming less popular? Or with people becoming more self-conscious, do you think it'll actually just exponentially continue to increase their sales and popularity? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to more of the cultural part of the podcast, you have Minnesota Elementary School wanting to host a pride parade for kids to dance to. But remember, we are told that they're not coming after the kids. Yeah, this is now reason number 9,758,735,004 to homeschool your kid for the love of God, because Lord only knows what they're teaching in public schools. Now, this is brought to us thanks to Libs at TikTok, in which, actually, see here, she's responding to Liz Collin. Now, Liz Collin said, quote, submitted Minnesota, and I, purposely mispronounced it as a slight to that state. They say Minneapolis parents questioned the PTO at Hiawatha Elementary School after announcing a Pride Month dance party for kindergartners and other community members. And here's an email. This is parent to the parents. It says, hey, Huskies, June is Pride Month and the end of the school year. Join your classmates and their parents at Hiawatha for a celebration of self-expression and glow up and get down. A blacklight party in Hiawatha Elementary School gym Thursday, June 5th. What does it say? The day before the last day of the school year. The dance party has been the this person's really excited. It's all capital letters. To quote, this dance party has been a dream in the making for 2 years. And we are ecstatic that the dream is manifesting. Super epic shout out to Taylor Clark and Stephanie Erickson for never giving up. I want to say that's the biggest red flag on the planet when you talk to a gal. But yeah, the word manifestation or manifesting, there's not an insignificant percentage that they're insane. I'm sure there's one guy who says it too. But yeah, to me, that's a big red flag. Now, they also say, quote, the celebration will have dedicated times for different grades so kids can dance with their classmates or parents to party music from the 1990-2000. Today's of a bunch of artists I can't even name or even know. Partygoers are encouraged to dress in their most festival dance outfits, whites, pops of the color, reflective materials, black light face paint will be available for everyone in a glow station before the party starts. Yeah, so it looks like it's kindergarten all the way to 5th grade. And parents. Now, going to the main, I thought this was more viral than I thought. No, there's a TikTok responded in which she said, quote, why is the school in MP5, definitely isn't the rifle, or submachine gun, sorry. Now she says, yeah, why is the school in MP5 News having an LGBTQ Pride Month party for kindergartners? Also be ashamed if everyone tagged MP5 News and asked them why. Let's see here. And one of the first comments, well, let me see here. Post. Let's see. I'm going to go back to the main comment section of this post. There we go. Got about 350,000 views and 5.4 thousand likes. One of the first comments comes was thanks to Trump Tracker, who's a leftist. I think I'm pretty sure I follow intentionally. Yes, I do, because again, life gets a little bit boring if you're echo chamber, and contrarian statements are usually pretty entertaining. It says, quote, this is literally just a school dance during Pride Month. You grasp at anything, unquote, getting 7 likes. This person was nearly ratioed by Justify, saying, quote, just a school dance. Sorry, but can you read? They say it's a celebration. They say we are ecstatic that the dream is manifesting, in all caps. You are full of crap, just a dance. I'm Minnesota, and no, these are just to promote their beliefs. These are not simply dances, getting 6 likes. Heather Eagleman says, quote, this is exactly why you need to be homeschooled, getting 179 likes. Paul Zazupa says, it's Minnesota. Tim Walls gives tampons to the boys. The state is deranged, getting 59 likes. Pixel American says, quote, I get where you're coming from, but teachers teaching kids about pride and identity is a great way to foster empathy and acceptance. It's not about they say it's not about grooming. It's about promoting inclusivity from a young age. They did get 3 likes. 34 comments. I wonder where they ratioed. Tilly says, quote, which can be had with parents at any age that's appropriate, not by some CD teacher. Containing 10 likes, so they were, in fact, ratioed, as you might say. You also have Deb saying, in kindergarten, you're a freaking PDF, getting 18 likes. Yeah. Going back to the main comment section. Brian Kennedy says, quote, groomers, since the GIF or the meme, rather, or also known as a meme, but that doesn't sound as funny, of the duck cracking. Someone says, how come they never read to, and they're referencing trans people, say, quote, how come you never read books at nursing homes or homeless or justice or the sick and the needy? Why is it only to kids? Getting 44 likes. The Truthman says, quote, Democrats are disgusting people. And you have the drag queens, literally as one dressed up as a Satanist or Satan, and they're all in front of kids and they're reading. It says, if you would send a kid into this, you are a horrible parent, getting 38 likes. Stephen Chell says, and he tagged the news company, why are you having a Pride Month for kids in elementary school that can't even read yet? This should be criminal, getting 15 likes. I mean, they should be able to read, but I mean, it's also Minnesota, they probably can't. You also have Keaton Hobby saying, quote, this is outrageous. Schools should just focus on education, not pushing LGBTQ agendas on kindergartners. MP5 News, why are you prioritizing this over basic learning? Parents deserve better. Getting 26 likes. Someone by the very specific name says Crushing Woke, or their name is Crushing Woke Culture, says, quote, they banned Halloween for being, quote, unquote, too scary, but drag-themed blacklight dance parties for 5-year-olds, totally age-appropriate, apparently. This isn't about inclusion, it's about indoctrination, and the parents are done being silent. Getting 36 likes. Not too many other contrarian statements here. They have Anne saying, quote, I'd love to know why groomers are hosting a party, hosting a Pride Month for children, MP5 News. Since you won't respond, maybe Matt Walsh over at the Daily Wire can look into this. He has a knack for shining the light on the truth and standing up for children. Gained 39 likes. Voted for this says schools exist to educate, not indoctrinate. Let kids be kids. Gained 15 likes, which, I mean, they used to. I mean, it can't help but think past couple years their pretty much only function is to indoctrinate kids. Yeah. But again, I'm not too surprised. It's Minnesota. I mean, they've been blue for decades upon decades upon decades. So, yeah, another reason to be actively involved in your school or your child's curriculum, know what they're doing out in the schools, and always stay vigilant. But let me know, do you think it's big deal? It's being blown out of proportion? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to know what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have Michelle Obama complaining that her husband is more famous. Oh dear God, who would have guessed that he was so much famous than her when he has a list of accomplishments? And she what'd she do? She did try to make America. No, she was going to try to make kids healthy, and she was saying we need to get rid of sugar in foods. And then she gave up on that, and they claimed just exercise more kids, and she kind of went to the background again. Now, without too much further ado, there's I'm sorry, I should have done a visual disclaimer. Michelle Obama's now on the screen. Though most people would probably say she's more attractive than myself. Granted, it's a moderately low bar, but without too much further ado.
There was a line of people waiting to shake hands with our respective husbands,
Okay.
People like reaching over our heads and spilling water on us, trying to get to these two, illustrious men, and she had the same look on her face as I did. Like, here we go, and I looked over at this beautiful woman. Did we even have a conversation?
Not until later in that afternoon. And that
so you hadn't met?
We hadn't met.
You just saw each other
but I
at the
just
table.
saw the look on her face, which expressed the sentiments that I felt, which was
pissed off.
That's Michelle Obama's brother. Or twin? I'm kidding. But yeah, this is somehow, oh man, I don't know. Is it as insufferable as The View? Ooh, it's a debate in and of itself. And it went moderately viral. Got about 750,000 views and 5.2 thousand likes. And yeah, no duh. People are more excited to meet Obama, Barack, which, stop that, reverse, obviously, that out of order. But yeah, he actually accomplished things. I mostly disagree with many of the things he did, but again, he accomplished a lot of things, including, killing U.S. citizens overseas without, due process. That's a staple of, blowing up kids with drones. Well, again, he accomplished a lot of things. She was there. Now, go to the comments. One of the first ones comes to us thanks to Chuck Costello, who says, quote, perpetual victimhood is a key ingredient of identity politics. After Big Mike's podcast, they'll go on a private jet and fly back to their mansion, both stunning and brave, getting 327. They get 328 likes. Norm Cruz says, is that bitch ever not complaining? Getting 2.5 thousand likes. To which Ed Woken says, nope, never, getting 693 likes. Carter Family says, quote, she is literally miserable treating Obama like Will Smith. Getting 482 likes. God, I was going to say, that's going to be a rough job, Barack Obama married to Michelle. Oh, jeez. Ellie says, Don Lemon says Michelle Obama is more attractive than Melania Trump. But she's attracted to men. They have a picture of Melania Trump that says the most beautiful first lady of all time, getting 95 likes, which, true. Yeah, but I mean, that bar is nearly impossibly low. Like, yeah, of course. James Flood says, quote, Michelle Obama is an ingrate. She should be proud that her husband was the first black president. Michelle Obama has nothing else to talk about other than being Barack's wife, getting 125 likes. I mean, one would think she would brag about her kids' accomplishments, how she helped shape and molded them to become productive members of society. That's what most parents would do is, you're proud of the achievements of your kids. I mean, you raise great kids. I mean, a lot of people would say that's one of the best accomplishments. Yeah, she doesn't do that, though. Bia Holt says, quote, this is the problem here in a nutshell. Women think they're better than men. They're narcissistic glory hounds who think they've been unfairly passed over. And the simple truth is that they're just not right for roles men perform, because men do it to provide for others. Women do it to have power and look powerful. Getting 89 likes. Rita's mom says, he was a senator, then president. If it weren't for him, no one would have ever heard of her. Well, yeah, exactly. It got 11 likes. TJ Kurt says, quote, she should spend more time talking to Jeremy Renner about how it feels to be crushed by a snowcat. Wow. maybe she can appreciate what a hard life is really like, getting 18 likes. I mean, yeah, she's had one of the easiest lives on the planet in terms of, I mean, how many houses, how many mansions do they have now? It's ridiculous. Salty Mattoon says, endless complaining from one of the most privileged women on the planet, Foxtrot Oscar, getting 55 likes. Jeannie Polydoros says, quote, I'm genuinely and sincerely beginning to feel bad for Barack Obama. Seriously, I am. For the love of God, why is she airing out her dirty laundry already? Getting 61 likes. That's a good question. We also have Build a Wall. Very specific profile name. Has a picture of a 1977 black Trans Am. And then it says 1964 black Trans Am. It's Michelle Obama. Back when Pontiac was king. Back when American... There's an age-old saying in the automobile community. There's no replacement for displacement. And man, some of those Trans Ams... And that was... I think with the T-tops, the stick shift V8, I mean... That's when Pontiac really... I think that's where they peaked, so to say. Florida 1 says, I think Joan Rivers has a different perspective than Michelle.
Miss Rivers, how are you? You made a ton of news officiating the wedding in New York yesterday. Is this like a new cottage career move for you?
I'm so excited.
Okay.
And I should do very well because I don't charge.
And do you think that the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman
we
president?
already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay. She does this.
They got 71 likes, which again, that viral video was from several years ago, because obviously Joan Rivers is passed. But yeah, that seems to go viral every couple months on social media. We also have Teddy saying, quote, Big Mike's worldview is as skewed as Kamala Harris, getting 8 likes. We also have Liz Wheeler saying, quote, Brock is such a lucky man, getting 72 likes. A lot of people making fun of her for whining and complaining. And again, I can't. You have all the pictures of the bulge from when she was wearing dresses, and her. A lot of people saying, obviously there's a lot of people saying there's a photoshopped. All the pictures of her looking more masculine. Some people saying how they've never seen pictures of her pregnant, and all those types of theories out there. Although granted, given the United States in 2025, it does seem like yesterday's conspiracy theories are just today's realities or today's truths in many instances. But yeah, her podcast or her brother's podcast continues to go on. I'm not sure how fiscally viable it is, or if there's someone in the background propping it up, because again, they do not get a lot of views. Still more than me, but again, that's a low bar. But let me know, why is she doing the podcast? I mean, I don't think it's enough where they actually are making a living on it. Is it just for vanity, or just for fun? Or maybe just to help her brother out so he can make some extra cash or something? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have Democrats choosing a pro-gay, pro-choice, pro-BLM representative to try to win back male voters. Which, yeah, that's not going to work. The party that hates men is trying to win them back, and the party that, again, you look at where they lost the most, past couple presidential elections, men are overwhelmingly going to, Republican Party. Also, the Democrat Party can't even define what a woman or a man is, so. This comes to us thanks to Libs of TikTok, and she says, quote, Democrat activist Olivia Julianna is now advising Democrats how to win over young men. She says conservative men are pro-choice, pro-gay marriage, pro-BLM. Yeah, not so much. It's but maybe they'll give us a very articulate, very smart reasoning of how they will rebuild the Democrat Party and lure men to vote for them, even though that's a party that wants you to give up your guns, give up your freedom, and not also, steal your opportunities away. Obviously not, but let's hear what they have to say.
The reason why Republican messaging resonates with men is because men want bad things, right? It's like men want to have sex and like own women, right? Like they want to dominate everybody. And Republicans say, you get to do that. And then Democrats can't say that. So we just lost men, it's over, right? Like, what are you talking about? Like a lot of times it will be men that are liberals who will like agree with that shit. I'm like, dude, what is going on? Like there's a lot of men that don't think that way, obviously.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, the Republican Party is not the party of slavery. But if you like a history book, you'll see who was.
Obviously. And it's just such a negative view to take on like half of the human race.
Well, I also think it's just so abundantly clear that.
So they're going to try to win over you're going to win over male voters. Now, Men are not perfect, obviously. Neither are women. Men are, in many ways, a visual creature. Yeah, so she's a very large white gal with a couple chins, and she has a t-shirt with a Chicago flag on it, which, yeah, Chicago is not the pinnacle of masculinity. It's kind of a Democrat hellhole. So I'm sure they'll be great next year, like the Chicago Bears. Haha, sporting pun, because obviously they will not ever be.
The people who say these things don't actually spend time talking to young men. You know this because we know each other in real life, but I spend a lot of time on college campuses. And I spend a lot of time with
young men.
I love young men. I love frat guys.
I guarantee you they do not love her.
And in that, I realized, like, even the ones that identify as conservative are almost always pro-choice. They're almost always pro-gay marriage. You'd be surprised at the number of them who supported Black Lives Matter. And so I feel like people just...
Black Lives Matter, the founders who are self-admitted Marxists who wanted to destroy the nuclear family, also known as the thing that helped build humanity. Yeah, no.
Just kind of lump them into this box when the truth is, again, a lot of them are with us on the issues. They're just not part of our coalition because they feel like they're not welcomed in it.
No. And again, the Republicans, we'll see if they ever pass some pro-gun stuff. Again, the Senate may or may not sign off on the big beautiful bill. But, yeah, a lot of guys are into masculine. Oh, a lot of people would argue they're traditionally masculine things like, firearms, fitness. I mean, Democrats say fitness is white supremacy. That's how mentally vacuous they've become. Yeah. And I can't think of a single man who likes or owns guns that have ever voted Democrat. Have ever voted to literally have your property stolen from you or confiscated, made illegal. Again, that's not the number one issue when it comes to politics. It's I'd say it's one of the top 10 issues is, the Second Amendment, firearm rights. And it usually doesn't get too much discussion, but I mean, shoot, every guy I know, I was gonna say, I'm trying to think if I know if I know any guys who do not own a gun. I think those are called Democrats. And there's like 2 of them, maybe. And this went pretty well. I got 3 million views and 5.7 thousand likes. One of the first comments coming to us thanks to our favorite contrarian, the gas stove, who says, quote, real conservative men hate Trump, gained 37 likes. DT says, get another booster shot. Cuck, getting 21 likes. Let's see. Bobby says, you are gay and retarded for sure, getting 2 likes. Gwen says, you're just a little troublemaker, are you? Getting 2 likes. So this person's they're actually not ratioed by number of likes. By number of comments, yeah, quite a few. Going to the main comment section, you have the undercurrent saying, quote, the left really thinks they could win young men by making up a version of conservatism that only exists in their group chats. Delusion isn't a strategy, it's just embarrassing. Gain 1.3 thousand likes. Yeah, it is. Though it also is moderately entertaining as well. And shoot, I mean, politically, I hope they keep doing that because it'll be so epically, it'll be the huge disaster. The party also says you can't have a fun V8 sports car. You gotta have an EV or an hybrid with de facto bans on gas engines. Another thing guys usually like, cars. Oh, muscle cars, baby. With stick shifts and, good old V8, maybe V10, maybe even a V12. Get some Italian engineering up in here. Those are what dreams are made of, many would argue. Again, they're the party that wants to ban it and has banned it in many ways across the globe. We look at leftism and authoritarianism. They hate the freedom of vehicles and automobiles. That's why every year they make them worse and worse in terms of they have all these extra rules, laws, regulations to take away the most fun vehicles. You also have Mirthful Moments, who says, quote, what Democrats did in the first 100 days. Cry, whine, scream, yell, protest, judge, shop, visit illegal wife beater, domestic terrorism, SWAT conservatives, sit on steps for crying, filibusters, key and blow up Teslas, more screaming, more whining, more crying. Democrats absolutely have 0 for American people ever. Or they do 0 for the American people ever. Okay, 451 likes. Mirthful Moments also says, quote, why are they always trying to support the worst members of society? There's a picture compilation of Luigi, who killed the CEO of United Healthcare. You have George Floyd, who's, career druggie who robbed a pregnant woman at gunpoint famously and, died of an overdose. You have Carmelo Anthony, who went into a opponent's tent at a sporting event in high school and stabbed him to death. Yeah, 153 likes for that. The Facts Dude says, quote, word to the wise, these 2 aren't influencing conservatives. Yeah, there's a 0% chance. You have a very weak-looking beta male and a very large, mentally uninformed fat gal. Now, I guess it could be worse. I am surprised she does not have short purple or blue hair. That is usually a staple of leftism. But yeah, they're not winning over anyone's hearts and minds. You also have I Don't Care Bear says, quote, I fully support the strategy. In fact, please double down on the midterms. I get 137 likes. Crazy Vibe says, quote, Democrats love illegal aliens over U.S. citizens, criminals over law-abiding citizens, government employees over taxpayers, men and women's sports, big pharma over health, teachers' unions over parents, war over peace, China over America. Getting 213 likes, 19 likes, going up like a stock. E.T. Browning says, quote, is she part of the consulting firm they paid $20 million to get help in this area? Getting 506 likes. Juliana Broderick simply says, holy shit, she's gross. Getting 619 likes. Let's see. Emilio says, quote, I think we should all just shut up and let them do what they're doing because we can't hurt them anymore. They're killing themselves. Getting 220 likes, which, yeah, I mean, they are also neutering themselves to protest Trump, which is the peak of mental disorder. Let's see. Scroll down more and more. That's a little bit long, but I like the statistics, so I'll pull it up. Sagisa Eternia says, quote, Olivia Julianna's claims that conservative men are pro-choice, pro-gay marriage, pro-BLM is a delusion, misread of reality. First, data consistently shows conservatives are overwhelmingly support pro-life policies. 73% of Republican men oppose abortion on demand. That's from Gallup 2024. Trump push to defund Planned Parenthood and appoint pro-life justice resonates with the base, proving Juliana's disconnect. Second, while in some conservatives soften on gay marriage, 59% of Republican men still vote in favor of traditional marriage definitions. Pew poll for 2023. Trump's focus on religious liberty and family values aligns with the majority, not Juliana's fantasy of rainbow-waving right. Finally, BLM's Marxist roots and divisive rhetoric alienated conservative men, with only 12% of them viewing them as favorable. That is from a Rasmussen poll in 2024. Trump's law and order stance and rejection of identity politics cement his appeal. Juliana's advice is a fever dream. Allow... Who is this? Sagizi Eternia for unfiltered truth. Getting 260 likes. You also have, and Don't Call Me Shirley, great airplane reference, says, I love, here's her, I love young men quote, says, mostly cooked or boiled, but raw if she hasn't eaten in several hours. Which, 12 likes for that, and a very poorly worded comment. Going down, I'm trying to see if there's anyone sticking up for her. 2A James says, who watched this for at least 20 seconds and assumed the effeminate boy speaking was a Democrat activist Olivia Julianna Broderick? Because I can't be the only one. Getting 55 likes. Oh no, I thought, when I first saw the screenshot, I thought that. I mean, again, it's also the party that cannot define what a man or woman is. Let's see. Calm Test says, interesting how Olivia loves to talk to frat boys, but I wonder how many love to talk to her. Is it possible that they give her answers she wants to hear just to stop talking to her? 48 likes. Yeah, that's a possibility. So yeah, when it comes to Democrat strategy, I mean, maybe I should hope they continue down this road, but I think this is perhaps the most ineffective methodology to try to gain back the young male vote. I just can't help but think this is going to fall flat in their face, which in her case would be detrimental because, maybe, might cause an earthquake, but let me know your thoughts and comments because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Nissan recalling about 79,000 vehicles. Yet again, Nissan's got quite a few recalls, and though somehow still in business. Losing billions, but still in business. Now, this brought to us thanks to Jonathan Limehouse. And one up right here says, quote, Nissan recalls over 79,000 newer vehicles, see depicted models below. They note that, quote, a rear view image that does not display can reduce the driver's view of what is behind the vehicle, increasing the odds of the crash. Whoops, another issue with the displays. There you can see the Nissan logo there in a fraction of its glory would be perhaps a articulate or more accurate assessment. Now, they say, quote, Nissan North America submitted a recall for certain 2025 Frontier and Kick vehicles. According to the recall, notice the center infotainment display could display a blank screen. Now, they note that it's going to impact the Frontier as well as the Kicks. And they say that Nissan owners affected by the recall should contact their dealerships, which will update the software of their vehicle's center information display free of charge. Though again, your time's worth something, and now you have to drive down to the dealership, which most people would rather get a root canal. Now, I also note that owner notification letters are expected to be mailed on July 1st, or just tune into the show where we usually cover recalls weeks or months before they're actually mailed out. Now, they also note that the manufacturer numbers for the recall is PD152, again, PD152, and PMA48, PMA48. Now, Nissan is struggling. They're doing so bad, they're going to close 10 of their 17 plants in the next, I believe, 48 months. Again, their sales did bump up briefly, but profitability is hurting, and people have been moving away from Nissan quite some time. And I mean, no one likes these recalls. Now, obviously, dealerships don't even like them either because they get paid a much dramatically decreased rate for their work compared to regular work. Warranty work is heavily discounted. So Nissan has to use yet more of their cash reserves to fix this. Now, hopefully it's a quick fix. They just, plug in the computer, do the software update. Everybody has to have the vehicle overnight, and you have to worry about using a loaner or, using the Uber, the Lyft, or whatever kind of app you want to use. But yeah, Nissan having another recall while they're very much in trouble as a company. Gotta say, Nissan, you are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so you can click that button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, and a comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.